From sundown on Sunday until the end of Yom Kippur last night, Israel fell silent as millions of Israelis fasted and prayed on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. In a tragic break from the traditions of the Day of Atonement, there were angry scenes in Tel Aviv as anti-judicial reform activists blocked public prayers as an Orthodox group set up a gender divider. More from ILTV's Steve Leibovich.
Yom Kippur in Israel. Radio and television broadcasts fall silent. Public transport halted. Israeli airspace closed to flights as millions of Israelis pray in synagogues around the country. Tens of thousands attended prayer services at the Western Wall Plaza, taking part in salichot services, asking God to forgive them for past sins and offer repentance. The Jewish Day of Atonement is marked by fasting and prayer by many observant Jews, while many secular Israelis take advantage of the deserted roads and highways. Unfortunately, there were over 300 bicycle, scooter, and skateboard riders injured on the roads. Medics treated just over 3,000 people over Yom Kippur, mostly for dehydration. The day was marred by clashes at a public prayer gathering at Dizengoff Square in Tel Aviv. There were similar, smaller-scale incidents reported in other cities as well. In Tel Aviv, makeshift gender separation barriers placed before the holiday by an Orthodox group were ripped down by anti-judicial reform activists. The protesters claimed they were acting to prevent gender separation in public places banned by the High Court. Clashes resulted between worshippers and activists. The Orthodox prayer service dispersed, but not before leaving many in Tel Aviv and around the country angered by the events. After Yom Kippur concluded, Prime Minister Netanyahu issued a statement sharply condemning the protesters who disrupted the prayers. Netanyahu tweeted, "The people of Israel sought to unite on Yom Kippur in a request for forgiveness and unity among us. To our astonishment, in the Jewish state, on the holiest day of the Jewish people, left-wing protesters acted out against Jews during their prayers. It seems there are no boundaries, no norms, and no limit to the hatred from the extremists on the left." Netanyahu concluded, "I, like the majority of Israeli citizens, reject this. Such violent behavior has no place among us." Chief Rabbi David Lau said the most special day of the year turned, due to the frenzied incitement of religious haters, into a sad day. Some forgot the essence of the day and continued the waves of simmering hatred.
And joining us now to discuss everything we saw just yesterday on Yom Kippur is journalist, attorney, and author Ben-Dror Yemini. Ben-Dror, the disturbance at public prayer services in Tel Aviv, many are furious about what happened. Why did it happen, and how can such scenes be prevented in the future?
First of all, let me tell you, it was a shame. It was a shame on behalf of the people who came to disturb the prayers, because actually it was not about the gender separation. It's not the story. The story is that there is a kind of rage against a huge amount of people. And we have to bear in mind that many people, just many people who came to the Dizengoff Center, they did not come in order to demonstrate against one side or another side. They just came in order to participate the service, and they were disturbed. But the people who came in order to disturb the service do not represent the majority. We are speaking about a kind of minority that unfortunately is leading the whole protest and leading the whole rage and leading this kind of controversy, and we just have to hope that they will not prevail.
Ben-Dror, millions prayed in synagogues around the country. As usual, I mean, secular Israelis were mostly on bikes and scooters, no cars on the roads, of course. Yom Kippur like any other in this country. Why did it feel so different this year?
Experience the power of truth with ILTV News. If you're looking for quality content and captivating visuals, join our news community and become an integral part of our team as we embark on a mission to unveil the real Israel, dismantling the web of lies and misinformation that surround reporting on Israel. By subscribing to ILTV News, you will not only have access to the latest updates, but you will also amplify our message, creating a ripple effect that carries the truth far and wide. Subscribe today and help reshape the narrative. Available on the web, Android, and Apple.
It felt different because of the protest, because of the big stories that we have opposition, coalition, protest, people who support the judicial overhaul or the judicial reform, and people who are against it. That's why. I mean, it's not because of the dissing of center service. I mean, the same kind of service was a year ago and 2 years ago, and I think even 3 years ago. So, but this time we are in the middle of a huge problem of the protest against the coalition, and that's why.
Might the Yom Kippur disturbances serve as a kind of wake-up call for society and its leadership to really wake up and really change things?
I do hope it will happen, because what we saw until now, at least in the last 24 hours, it's mainly declarations on behalf of the coalition leader, Benjamin Netanyahu, the opposition leaders, Benny Gantz and Yair Netanyahu and Yair Lapid, that were not in the direction of maybe a kind of let's do things much better. No, it's not. It's not what happened. I do hope that it will be a turning point, because people will begin to understand that something very bad is happening here. Something terrible is happening here. No, we should not continue in this way. We should not let the extremists take over. But that's what happened until now. And I do hope it will be a turning point.
Of course. Now, speaking of a turning point, is there any message you'd like to convey to our people, to our society?
Yeah, let's not forget that we have a majority in Israel. Sometimes we forget it. And speaking about majority, I'm speaking about people from the center, of course, from the left, from the right, that are looking for a kind of compromise, that are looking for a kind of concession. And I mean, something which will be done, speaking about the protest, speaking about the judicial reform or overall, looking for a compromise. And this majority, unfortunately, we do not hear. We hear who? The extremists. What happened yesterday was something of the extremists. And I do hope that the moderate majority, and we have a moderate majority.
Benoit, thank you so much for joining us today and for more peaceful times.
Thank you for having me.
There has been a flare-up of security incidents along several Israeli borders. These include recurring riots on the Gaza fence, a rare clash between IDF troops and Lebanese army soldiers, and a first exchange with Syrian tank position in the Golan Heights since the 1973 war. More from ILTV's Dave O'Klein.
Incendiary balloon attacks and violent riots continue on the Gaza border. IDF UAVs struck 3 Hamas military positions following shooting and explosive attacks on soldiers along the security barrier over the Yom Kippur holiday.